really didn't do anything but send out beeps. But that sent shockwaves through the United States like crazy. This is in the middle of the Cold War. The Russians, the evil empire, are going to blow us up if they could get a chance, and we got to defend ourselves and back and forth. I mean, it was uncomfortable days. Khrushchev said he was going to bury us, and a lot of things going on. So when that happened, instantly, I was in high school, in Northwest Classen in Oklahoma City, where I was born and raised. So instantly what happened was they ratcheted up the science and mathematics emphasis probably instantly across the country. And one thing that happened at Northwest Classen is they hired a brilliant mathematics teacher. His name was Tom McCall, Dr. Tom McCall, to come to Oklahoma City and teach from one location in Oklahoma City a television class in near calculus stuff to all the high schools in Oklahoma City. So they sort of picked the students that were doing well in math at this point and ushered them into this class. Here's Tom McCall on TV. And so here was this advanced mathematics class offered in all the public schools in Oklahoma City. And I was in that class because I had kind of done okay in math. I wasn't really interested in it. You just, the times, you know, is a little bit of an honor. So here I am in the math class. We get through the math class, and time to go to college, to Oklahoma State University, where my father went. You know, what are you going to major in? Well, I'd kind of done well in math, so I just decided to pick math because I heard it was the easiest major you could take. All you had to do was work problems. You know, sometimes you had to work papers and do researches. Solve problems. Well, that's fairly easy. So I'm working our way through OSU, and then another bombshell hit. Yuri Gagarin, the Russian cosmonaut, orbited the Earth. We hadn't even got an astronaut off the ground to work on it. But he orbited the Earth. That sent panic through the... So it's like 9/11 in a sense, back in terms of the effect. And it was true the next month we sent Neil Armstrong up on a little suborbital flight. But then that same year, 1961, President Kennedy said, challenged the United States to land a man on the moon and return before 1970, in the decade of the 60s. In other words, we got to beat the Russians to the moon. They're ahead of us. And the reason they were ahead of us, interesting enough, is because the scientists, the German rocket scientists that we got a hold of after the Second World War, were maybe the smarter ones, Werner von Braun, Dr. von Braun for one, but the Russians got the ones that were working on the bigger boosters at that time. So they had a head start on the size of the rockets, but we still had what turned out to be the smarter group, and we eventually, as you know, caught them. There they were. That's why they were ahead of us. So I'm about ready to graduate from OSU. I have no clue what I'm going to do with a math major. By this time I'm married, have a son, and I figured education might be the only shot, but I wasn't in the school of education. So I started taking electives at the last minute, trying to figure out what in the world am I going to do to support my family. You know, be an actuary or something. That's the only thing that was on the list back then. No computer science degrees. There was one computer class at OSU. And the first time I took it, I couldn't understand what was going on. I dropped it. I took it again, and finally a light came on. But anyway, that was just sort of an oddity at that time. Well, IBM was on a national hunt for potential computer programmers. All of this related to the Moon Project. All of it feeding in to get some men and women who could write the computer programs to drive the computers not only on the Earth, we already had some of those, but the flight computers in rockets, and to support that whole effort. So they showed up at OSU and gave in to me. Well, I signed up. I signed up for everything. Everything. It was like panic. Well, I got a call from IBM, came down to Oklahoma City and took a test. And thinking, okay, I can sell computers in the branch office in those cities. Next thing I know, they invited me to the Federal Systems Division. That's the division of IBM that supports all the government contracts. And they basically flew me up for an interview, offered me a job for $565 a month. And I took, had no clue exactly what I was trying to do, but I knew them, I knew what they were, I knew what was going on, and you couldn't hire any programmers because nobody had studied. So what you had to do is go to class, learn how to do it, and then they would assign you. And they were looking for, when they went around the university, math majors and music majors. That was the math majors. So they had figured out that people with those backgrounds often made good computer programming. We're talking about writing the instructions to tell the computer, step by step, exactly what it's supposed to do. So you gotta think logic, detail, like music. So off we go to Bethesda, Maryland, programming school, got through that, was assigned locally, and then Jim Medlock from IBM showed up, searching for, put together a team to service IBM's operations. They were looking for a junior program. That's what I want. Jim Medlock was a legend in those days at IBM. He had written the first flight guidance computer. It's a computer on board Redstone rockets, or Gemini program, that would be the Atlas rocket. He had written some of the first ones, because when you write a guidance program, it's like our GPS, you know, where am I in relationship to what? Well, when you get to outer space, it's hard to find a marker. You know, where's the stake in the ground? So he figured out the way to do this is that when the rocket leaves the tower, it gets just above the tower, you mark that point in space relative to the sun. See, the Earth would immediately move away from that point. And all the guidance calculations for getting to the moon and back are remembering where that point was. So you were always, where am I in relation to this? The computer had to translate that into where we're going. The gyros on the rocket would feed the computer any movement so it could tell what was going on. So he was putting together a team. He was in Huntsville, but he needed a team at the Cape. And my boss then at that time said, Burge, this is a great opportunity. You ought to take this. So I did. Not really understand. So here we are at the Cape, Cape Kennedy, 1964. And the atmosphere at Cape Kennedy back then was unbelievable. It was, everybody's gearing up, the contractors moving in, they were building that big vertical assembly building, vehicle assembly building you've seen on television, giant cube. That hadn't even started yet. So our offices were all in barracks, old Air Force barracks at the Air Force base there. But it was, everything was on either DEFCON 4 work. Contractors building, we got to beat the Russians. It wasn't long before we were operating 24/7. I worked first shift sometimes, second shift sometimes, third shift sometimes. I mean, we really believed we were saving the United States from the evil Russians. I'm not sure I remember what it was they were going to do. They got to the moon first. It was so threatening, but it was kind of pride was one of it, and just, who knows? And maybe they'll launch laser beams from the moon and wipe out in the sun. It's interesting that in those days, the divorce rate in Brevard County, Florida, was the highest in the nation. The reason was obvious. The men and women that were on some aspect of the space program had made that the number one focus of their lives. Family, lives, I'm saving the world. I mean, I gotta go. I'll be back whenever I get done. And so just going. President Kennedy had been shot by this time, it just made it more. You know what the connection was. We just felt like, for him, we got to do it for the former president. On and on we went. Some of the technology then, I don't know how many of you are into computers that much, but it would be laughable. I'm going to try to explain a little bit of it. Okay, I was a computer